A baby is born learning. In fact, 90% of a child's brain develops in the first 5 years. At Primrose Schools in the greater Houston area, we know this is the time to encourage their curiosity and creativity through purposeful play. Learn more at primroseschools.com/Houston.
When was the last time you made time for you? Seriously. You make time for your kids, your partner,
Thanks, honey.
your friends, even your pet. Orange Twist believes it's important to make time for you. Make time for any one of their age-defying treatments like facials, lasers, body contouring, and injectables. Whichever you choose, make time for a complimentary consultation today at your nearest Orange Twist treatment shop. Visit orangetwist.com/time to book now.
Back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankle.
Throws. It is caught. Touchdown.
Drops back to goal. It's picked up. Touchdown.
Shotgun snap. Under pressure. Ball is stripped.
This is the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
Oh my goodness, we are so far away from the Veritex Studios, my man Jacob, that first of all, folks, it is a Sunday, November, 17th, week 11 of the NFL. This is the Mean Gene Show. We are broadcasting live from Franky's Sports Bar, 1303 Main Street in downtown Dallas, and I am joined by, you can see us, of course, but we look good. We've never looked so much better, Jacob. Jacob Meadows from the Coach's Quarters podcast. Man, welcome to Dallas.
What is up, Gene? I'm so glad that I got to join you out here. Hey, this bar is sick. This is awesome. This is a really cool experience. Finally being back out in the public again since our Vegas adventures. This is
our first one since we've done Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh my goodness. And of course, our main man back in the studios that's really making all of this happen is our producer, AJ. AJ, man, we wish you could be here.
Yes, hey, it's all good. Appreciate y'all. Looking forward to the show still.
But what I can tell you, folks, we are here because, as you know, tomorrow night is the big game. It's for the battle of the state of Texas. It is the Houston Texans, which we have fans here, by the way, and the Dallas Cowboys. They will play tomorrow night, Jacob, and we're just here to sort of get everyone, ready for this big game in the battle of Texas.
That's exactly right. There's a lot more Houston fans here than I ever would have expected. It's kind of nice seeing the red and blue in full.
Yeah, I mean, this poor guy right here, he's got two Dallas Cowboy fans, like right between them. We got you, man. We got you. So, look, we're going to hear from some of the fans here. It's just nice that we had some people come down. Okay, I just been threatened with a fork. Okay. All right, we got you too, okay? We're going to hear from the Cowboy fans too. All right, now producer, AJ, you are going to love it, man, because look, Cowboy fans are here, but look, we have a lot to uncover today because, as you know, in the studio, we would take our time and go over every game that was played. There are still morning games being played from this morning, Jacob.
Yeah, that's right. It kind of feels weird not having a full slate of games finished whenever we actually launch this pod. So it is. This is pretty cool because you have all of the first round of games wrapping up, and then we're going to go straight into the middle tier. And it's a little different. It is definitely a little different. This is cool.
Yeah, I mean, we got look. So once again, I tell you what, folks, the show today is brought to you by Franky's Sports Bar and Grill here in downtown Dallas. This place here, just to give you a little bit of history about it, the Sports Kings, Jacob, which you've been part of that show. That show, and of course, subsequently, the Mean Gene Show was born right here in Dallas, Texas, here at Franky's Sports Bar.
Really? That's pretty. I mean, that makes sense why everybody hears it.
And that was in 2007. We did this. We launched this show. When we did the Sports King show, we had a former Dallas Cowboy player, AJ, you would know this guy by the name of Jim Jeffcoat. Jim Jeffcoat was actually a co-host on the Sports Kings. So he is an honorary Sports Kings. We couldn't get him out here today, but, man, we love coming here to Franky's. The atmosphere is just always great. Look, we had guests come here, and I feel bad because they don't have any place to sit, and normally they would sit here where these gentlemen are. But I mean, it's just one of those days. So we're hoping some of the crowd to sort of clear out so some of our people can come in here. And then we got 3 spectacular evening games. But, man, we got a lot of action to unpack here.
We absolutely do. The first tier of games was pretty good. I mean, you did have a couple of pretty bad blowouts. But all things considered, the parity's been pretty good in this first round of games. You know, there were a couple of surprises already today, including the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game that's currently playing right now.
Yeah,
I mean, outside of that, it's been a good day of football so far.
It's really been a good day. And you know what? For the Week 11 matchup of games, I'm really shocked, like some of these evening games, like how the hell did the Buffalo-KC game not get flexed to be either a Thursday night game or perhaps a Monday night or a Sunday night game?
You know, I get the Bengals are a good team and they deserve the primetime slot, but how does Kansas City beat Buffalo not get them?
I don't know, and they knew that. I mean, come on, everyone knows that Josh Allen is always able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but he can't touch him in the playoffs.
And, you know, it's one of those things where even if both of these teams were bad, Gene, they still play each other harder than any other team in the league. So, like, this game absolutely should have been the final game. And it's a bit ridiculous that it isn't. But at least we do get to enjoy it pretty early on today.
Yeah, we do. And Rachel? Hi, Rachel. I know she can't. Where's your mic? Hit Rachel, get on the air with us. Come on. Rachel, just say hello to everyone, Rachel. I know. So we got Rachel's here, and you want to tell everyone who Rachel is because they're like, who's Rachel?
Yeah, for all the people listening, Rachel is my lady favorite, right? She's been my
She's here to keep you in check.
She's here. She's the idea generator. She's here to help us out in a big way today. So that for everybody listening, that is who that is.
Okay.
Rachel is my pride and joy.
Rachel, thank you so much. You really help us out a lot. And look, don't feel bad because my girl is here too. She's just not up here to keep, me in check like Rachel's keeping you in check. But
exactly. Hey, and for everybody to know, she almost got our show live streamed on the TVs here at the bar, which would have been crazy.
It would have.
More that we needed to run the computer.
That would have been nice. But look, at least the folks that are back in Houston or wherever you. Like, listen to the Mean Gene Show on ESPN 97.5. Look, we are streaming live, and we can just kind of wave at everybody. You can obviously tell that we are not in our studios in Houston, but this is going to be a fun show. The next 2 hours, we have a ton of games to go over as far as, we get started on some of these now. I've seen, look like the Denver Atlanta Falcons game has kicked off, so that's one of the 3 games that's going to be playing this afternoon, and I think the other one is going to be the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. That is a NFC West matchup. That's going to be happening, so we'll give you updates on that. And also the big game, of course, is going to kick off, and that's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs, man, the unbeaten Kansas City Chiefs playing the Buffalo Bills. So we can't wait to get into those late games, Jacob, but we got a lot of scores and updates from the early games as well.
We absolutely do. And we're going to jump off with the Thursday night game, right?
Well, yeah, we're always going to start off with that Thursday night game, which we'll probably get that. You know what? Why don't we just kind of talk about that Thursday night game before we get the break here? So Thursday night, Week 11 kicked off Thursday night, and it happened in Philadelphia. And I tell you what, the Eagles win 26-18 over the Washington Commanders. So this was a NFC East matchup. But I tell you what, I think we have the sound bite of the Saquon Barkley or one of his runs there. So let's listen to that.
Second down and 5. Do they keep it on the ground with Saquon Barkley? They do. He breaks free. He's at the 50, the 40, the 30. He's going to go. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Wow. Look here. How many times have we heard that this year where I've never seen where it wasn't a trade, free agency? What happens here? You see what Derrick Henry is doing for the Baltimore Ravens, but have you ever seen one guy that turns a season around for the Eagles or for any team?
Honestly, probably not since the Daniel Tomlinson. I mean, truthfully, like Saquon has come in, he has 9 touchdowns on the season. He's been the catalyst for this Eagles offense that is starting to look good midway through the year. And without Saquon this Thursday night, the Commanders win this game. Jaden Daniels hasn't looked the same since his rib injury. You can use that as an excuse. You can say that, maybe his rookie season slump's finally starting to hit a little bit. Mm-hmm. But Saquon absolutely carried the Eagles over the Commanders this Thursday. So it's just one of the. Saquon is a generational talent. He was a generational talent when he came out of Penn State. The Giants just seemingly casted him away to a division rival.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I mean, we find ourselves talking about either him or Derrick Henry every week, but I've just never seen a transformational player like Saquon Barkley that really helped. I mean, it's not that. I mean, the Eagles did have decent running backs, but now that Barkley's, I can't remember who the running backs were in the previous years. I mean, because he is just dominating the backfield.
He gives them a burst that they haven't had in a long time. They had the DeAndre Swift, who is a good running back, but you see what he's doing in Chicago right now, albeit that offense is a mess. But DeAndre Swift was a good back, not a workhorse primary RB1. You have Kenneth Gainwell still on the roster. He's playing well, but he is also a second back. Saquon gives the Eagles the opportunity to have a 3-down workhorse running back, and he does it better than almost anybody else in the league. And, honestly, as far as off-season acquisitions go, I have to say the Eagles probably got the number one
I think they did. And I tell you what, folks, the NFC playoffs are going to just be spectacular. I know we're jumping ahead here, but my goodness, it's going to be a very interesting playoff run. Anyway, the Eagles now sole possession there in control of first place in the NFC East. Washington still, there. And, of course, the team here in Dallas. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But anyway, I think AJ would have to agree with us that Saquon Barkley and the Eagles seem to be for real. They are getting it done. But I tell you what, folks, like we said here, so that was the first game on Thursday night. We have all of the games here. We got some finals here we want to talk about that took place here. This Pittsburgh and Baltimore game is just getting down to the wire. So why don't we take a break, and when we come back, folks, we're going to get into all the action for the early games that took place in Week 11. You are listening to the Mean Gene Show. We are broadcasting live at Franky's Sports Bar, downtown Dallas, right here on ESPN 97.5 Houston.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
For the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Mean Gene.
All right, folks, once again, we are live in Dallas, Texas, downtown, Franky's Sports Bar and Grill, 1303 Main Street. So if you're listening to us, if you're in Dallas, you're looking for a place to kind of come and hang out, we highly invite you to come down and hang out with me and Jacob Meadows here as we get folks ready for the big game tomorrow night, which is the Battle of Texas, the Cowboys and Texans. Jacob cannot wait.
Oh, man, I wait for this game every 4 years, right? Every time it's scheduled, this is the most fun game just because, Dallas always has a good team, just not a great team. And Houston has a great team.
Just tell the truth. They absolutely suck this year. Just say it. Say it.
Dirt poor bad. Yeah, I feel bad for the poor Dallas fans sitting across from us. It's going to be a hard
We're going to give them a little something to say later on in the show when we
y'all will have an early first round exit too, so don't worry about it.
When we cover that game, AJ would not let us badmouth his Cowboys. That is a true fan, AJ. All right, you better stand up for those guys. Okay, Week 11 is underway. We just covered what happened on Thursday night with the Commanders losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles in solid control of the NFC East. And how about we jump into the action that took place today? We're going to go ahead and get on this Colts-Jets game here because I tell you what, Aaron Rodgers has to retire. I saw he got hit on his backside a couple of times today. They lose a nail-biter to the Indianapolis Colts, 28-27. I'm still shocked at what's going on in Indy with the quarterback shuffle there. It looked like it was going to be Joe Flacco. They went back to Anthony Richardson, and it looked like that might have been a good deal.
I really think Anthony Richardson kind of woke up a little bit. I think him pulling himself out of a game because he was tired of getting subsequently benched for it, that woke up a monster. I mean, was he perfect? No.
But did he look just substantially better than he has for the rest of the year? Absolutely. He looked good today, and it is worth noting that
Aaron Rodgers definitely is on his last leg. He's still a good quarterback. He's not the quarterback that he was when he won back-to-back MVPs for Green Bay. And the Jets are in trouble. It is time to hit the panic button.
Yeah, I think so. They are now 3-7, and the Colts improved to 4-6. Not a bad day for Anthony Richardson, 20 of 30, 272 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, not a bad day either. They just 22 of 29, 184 and 2 touchdowns. But I mean, this game was like a sluggish type of boring game, really. I guess it got down to the wire.
Yeah, it came down to the wire, and the same problems that plagued this Jets team prior to Aaron Rodgers' arrival, right? Like the biggest question mark for this Jets team was their offensive line before they ever brought Aaron Rodgers in. They have trouble having any sort of consistency in the run game, and they can't protect Aaron Rodgers in the times he needs it most. So it begs the question, they have a lot to do this offseason, and you have to wonder whether or not they're going to be able to put anything together to wrap this season up, or if this is already just
if you just look back to last year, they're not in any better situation than they were with Zach Wilson than they are currently with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no, not at all. And, everybody hated on Zach Wilson, right? The New York fan base hated Zach Wilson. And honest to God, it might not all be Zach Wilson's fault. Turns out it's hard to play quarterback behind a Swiss cheese offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where the Jets are going to go in this particular situation, but I can tell you right now, there will be no playoffs in New York. As I don't think neither teams are going to make the playoffs in the city of New York. That really sucks if you live in New York, and I do apologize. But anyway, we just have to tell the facts here. Now, Devontae Adams, 6 receptions there. He was targeted 7 times, 72 yards, no touchdowns. So do you think they sort of made this acquisition a little bit too late? Because, Rodgers wanted him a year ago.
I don't know if they made it too late. I don't think that there's chemistry amongst this team yet. I think it'll be too late by the time that's developed, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that chemistry between the Garrett Wilson and the Devontae Adams and Tyler Conklin and the other weapons that they have in this passing game. I just don't think that they mesh well enough together yet to actually make any sort of strides against a real NFL defense. And I think that outside of the Texans game, I do believe that has been on just full display for everybody who watches.
Yeah, I mean, when you see, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob, because when you see this team and how they played today and you see how they just sort of had the Texans number, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like Rodgers and Devontae Adams was on the same page. But, man, now I look at this team and I'm like, how the hell did the Texans lose to the Jets?
It was a trap game, right? It wasn't, but it was. I mean, the Jets had, 2 wins going into that game. They came out with a dub against Houston. It was a trap game. That was a bona fide trap game. It was Devontae Adams' second week in New York. They didn't know what he was going to do. We made some questionable offensive and defensive play calls, and it ended up costing Houston a win in that game. And I just think, I don't know, it's hard to see where the Jets go from here because if they win out, right, you still don't make playoffs and you forfeit a high draft pick that could potentially help the future team. So they're stuck in a hard place, kind of like the rest of that.
Yeah. I mean, come on. We all know it's the Buffalo Bills and nobody else when it comes to Miami might do something that Tua Valoa is back. Go Texans. There we go. All right. Okay. All right, Cowboys. All right. How about them Cowboys? All right. He came up and he threatened me with the fork again. So. All right, we can move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers game here because it looks like this game got just out of control fast here. Justin Tucker is having a bad year for kicking field goals. Never thought we would say that. But here it looks like with about 54 seconds left to go in this game, look like the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to get a win at home against the Baltimore Ravens. This is great stuff.
This is not the outcome that I expected of this game, but that Pittsburgh pass rush is enough to disrupt absolutely anything. And on that, the opening drive, Derrick Henry fumbled that ball away. I think that really threw off the mojo for this game, and they never really recovered from that. And like I said, they made Lamar Jackson uncomfortable all game.
And they knew that's what they needed to do. Yeah, that fumble by Derrick Henry early on. Too bad the Steelers were unable to punch it in for the 7. They did get the field goal. But, man, this has just been one of those low-scoring games, and these are the ugly type of games that the Pittsburgh Steelers win. They don't it's never going to be fancy. It's never going to be, like the Detroit Lions, of course. But
Naturally.
they get it done.
It's crazy that this is the hallmark of Tomlin, right? Like this, he is really good at winning these close, gritty games where neither team is playing exceptionally well, but Pittsburgh is the best team at being not the best team on the field that I have ever seen in my lifetime. Like they deserve every win they get because the good teams find a way to win, and Pittsburgh ends up coming out on top in all of these.
Yeah, it's a final now from Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Steelers win over the Baltimore Ravens by a score of 18-16. They improved to 8-2, and the Baltimore Ravens now are 7-4, I believe, or
7-4.
Yeah, so I tell you what, now they will meet again. Probably a little bit later on in the year, so we'll see how that goes. But this was a monumental win for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It was, and if you would have said this to me a couple of weeks ago, I would have laughed in your face, but there's a real-world chance that Pittsburgh could be vying for the number 1 seed in the AFC. You have Kansas City playing the Buffalo Bills. If they lose that game, they're only 1 game ahead for that first seed in the AFC, and Pittsburgh really could make a push for it.
We'll find out on Christmas Day, I do believe, right?
Sure
I
will.
think that's when you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I believe it's Christmas Day that the Chiefs and the Steelers are going to play each other. This is incredible. What's really unlikely coming into the season, you didn't know who was going to be the quarterback. You didn't know if it was going to be Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. Then Mike Tomlin decides, okay, well, let's see what Fields is going to give us. Fields goes out there and wins a couple of his games. He gets off to a shaky start, but he improves. Now he brings in Russell. Russell Wilson now is undefeated. I mean, it's sort of what I thought was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially with the intangibles tied to the Russell Wilson contract and this, that, and the other, or the Justin Fields contract where if he plays X amount of games, the compensation changes and this, that, and the other. But, Russ didn't play his best game today. He threw a boneheaded pick to Marlon Humphrey in the back of the end zone. That Pittsburgh Steelers defense is legit.
It is legit. Good. And that's why you get these low-scoring games here, because they know that sometimes the offense is going to struggle and they're not going to be able to put points up. So you got to have a strong defense. And that has been the Steelers'
mantra
for forever. It's always been built on defense. I think, you're not going to see a lot of blowouts. You're not going to see them drop 40 or 50 points a lot. They're just going to go out there and grind it out for 4 quarters and get it done. That is a big win by the Steelers today. And, of course, I'm happy. AJ, can you see my face, AJ?
Yeah, I was thinking to myself.
The pearly whites are shining, man. That's why you brush your teeth when you know you're going to be on YouTube, so you can smile when the Steelers win.
You're supposed to brush your teeth all the time, not just then.
Yeah,
but,
I'm with you on that, AJ.
I do every day. I floss, too, by the
way.
Okay, all right. So, anyway, how do we get on that conversation anyway? But a great win. I'm excited. And I know we got some more games here. Like I said, the late window is underway. We got the Falcons playing the Broncos, which is a good matchup. We're going to give you an update on that when we come back. We also have the NFC West matchup, and that's going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Are they at home or are they on the way? I can't. I know they're playing the Seattle Seahawks. I think this game is in San Francisco, right?
If I was better at my job, I would be able to answer that question.
Well, it's in San Francisco. So right now, 3-0 score there from what I'm seeing. Right, the Falcons are down right now. The Broncos are up 7-0. And I don't believe the Chargers – well, no, that's the late game there.
No, the KC and Buffalo was the only staggered game. They started 15 minutes later.
That game should be kicking off here in a minute. That game is at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. So we'll get you an update on all of that. But right now, folks, if you hear all the noise, if you see the background here, this is Franky's Sports Bar, one of the most premier sports bars in all of downtown Houston. There's no bar that's packed like this one here. And this is one great place. I got to thank Brittany Smith and the owner here for getting us down here. That's Bill Katz and Johnny.
Every table was full out here.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if y'all are in the Dallas area, come check Franky's out. The food has been phenomenal, and the sweet tea is perfect.
Okay, I don't need you to pass out from that sweet tea. Yeah, we got another hour and a half of shows to do. Rachel, just don't
I have a substitute.
Don't let them pass out on that sweet tea. So All right, but yeah, we got a menu because there's a couple of things here that I wanted to talk about on the menu. They have the fried pickles, which is a staple, and
Those cheese
here
bites
this
are
part
great.
of the country
Yeah.
in Texas. So, but anyway, we'll talk about that. When we come back, we got more action to talk about from the early games as well as get you scores from the games that are playing right now. You are listening to Jacob Meadows, Mean Gene. This is the Mean Gene Show, broadcasting live from Franky Sports Bar right here on ESPN 97.5 H-Town.
Now back to Mean Gene, broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
All right, folks, we are back once again. It's the Mean Gene Show with Jacob Meadows and Mean Gene. I is he is I. We are at 1303 Main Street and downtown Dallas. So nice to be out of the look, AJ, we love you, man. we as much as we love to be in the studios today, but man, it's just so much. There's like 50 gazillion TVs here, and right now my head is just about to blow up, Jacob, because there's just so much action here. Now, I do like our TVs in the studio, but this is like madness.
There's just more, right?
Yeah,
like
this is just more.
It's 360 degrees around us. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see multiple behind us, and they have done a good job covering this entire bar with enough TVs to broadcast every game that you could want.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't miss anything. So, all right, just real quick here. It appeared that the Buffalo
picked off.
So
Patrick
that game
Mahomes.
has started. The
game.
Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a game we're really going to be focusing on here this afternoon. We get you as many updates as we can. Right now, no score. They just getting underway. We also have it's 7-3 Broncos over the Atlanta Falcons, and we have I think there was another game. Is the San Francisco.
San Francisco's up 7-3 on Seattle right now.
Okay, all right. So then, so that's where we are here. But we are going to go and cover some more of the games that took place in the early window, and that is how about the Minnesota Vikings, who are now 8-2. They defeat the Tennessee Titans, who are 2-8. Boy, two opposite records there. Minnesota wins 23-13. Good to see the Vikings get back in the win column, and Sam Darnold looked like he had a good game today in Nashville.
He had a pretty good game, and you know who else had a good game? Jordan Addison finally started to figure things out. You know, Jordan's been kind of on the same level as Jalen Waddle this season, where he's not having a terrible season, but it's most certainly not what people thought he was going to produce. And Jordan Addison absolutely torched the Titans today. He looked really good. Sam Darnold looked efficient. And it looks like, you know, maybe that bubble's not bursting for Minnesota after all. Maybe they were just having a couple of down weeks, and they've ironed everything out. Now they're coming back. Maybe they really are going to make a run. I don't think they're better than Detroit, but they could make a run for a wild card spot.
Yeah, because since they went to the new format, right, so you get your 4 division winners and you get 3 wild cards.
Yes.
So that's going to be interesting because I still think, Jacob, that you're probably looking at 2 teams coming out of the NFC North. You might even get 3.
You could get 3.
Because I'm not sure what Green Bay did here. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But, you know, those are the 3 top teams in that division, and they're all in the win column. So we'll see what goes on with that. But this was a big win for Sam Darnold. 248 yards today, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Yep.
Because he's been throwing the ball to the other team.
He's been doing that
the
a lot.
last couple of weeks. So no picks there. Will Levis, I tell you what, man, I don't know. The Titans, and I would say this till I'm blue in the face, you don't fire Mike Vrabel unless you got a pretty good damn game plan. I don't know what the Titans are doing.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And, you know, as a Will Levis supporter, right, like at the back end of last season, Will Levis started to figure it out. It was like he knew how to play quarterback a little bit. And even I drafted him to 2 of my fantasy teams. I was like, he's going to improve. He's got all of the intangibles. He's got legs. He can throw deep. He just is not – he is not a great quarterback. And you kind of have to wonder if the Titans maybe swing for a quarterback in the offseason or in the draft just to give him a run for his money. Because, things look pretty bad in Tennessee. Mason Rudolph isn't the answer. He's no better than Will Levis. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the running. So it's one thing you got a bad passing game. How about the running game? Man, Tony Pollard is not the answer.
No.
For you give up Derrick Henry for Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard today, 9 carries, 15 yards. Oh, my goodness. Is that not the worst?
Well, I feel bad for Tony because, they can stack the box against the run. They know that the passing game isn't going to be a threat, so they're able to stack against Tony Pollard. I do believe Tony could be a good running back if they had an offense that could sustain drives and had a quarterback that could move the ball downfield without the running back being the only weapon on the field. I really do. I believe that Tony's better than what his stats look like, and there will probably be a team that gets him on the cheap after this contract is up, and he's going to play like a dog for whoever he goes to.
Who's
after
coaching
Tennessee.
the Titans now?
That is a great
it's
Brian. Yeah.
So it just looks like a one and done here. I mean, what do you do here? Now he could always, in his defense, saying, "Well, look, we made wholesale changes in our team, and we're going to give Will Levis a chance or whatever." I don't see how anyone could think the future is bright in Nashville.
No, there's so many holes on that team. And I get, like, you inherited this team, right? He's a first-year coach, so that is the thing. But at some point, you have to make the most out of what you have available to you, kind of like the Carolina Panthers are. There's no excuse.
Yeah, and I think, believe it or not, I think this Titans team is worse than the Carolina Panthers.
I have to agree.
In some regards.
Yeah, in most regards. Carolina is a better team than Tennessee right now, which, bodes well for my Texans. But outside of that, Tennessee has a lot of things that they need to figure out, and they need to figure it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, sooner rather than later. So, okay, this game I thought was going to be the what had happened was, but then came the Detroit Lions. So we'll save that for the second hour of the show. But how about the New Orleans Saints? They play at home there in the Superdome. They beat the Cleveland Browns 35-14. And I tell you what, man, the Saints are getting back in the win column there. They are 4-7. Browns dropped to 2-8. And what a day for Derek Carr. I mean, not spectacular numbers, but not bad numbers. 21-27. 248 yards, almost like Sam Darnold, 2 touchdowns. And Jameis Winston, boy, he is not shy from throwing that ball. He put it up 46 times, 395 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, not bad, but they just they lose by 21.
They can't do anything consistently on offense. And also, credit to New Orleans, right? They moved Marshawn Lattimore, who has been their best corner for years. They fired Dennis Allen as their head coach, and then all of a sudden this offense remembers how to play football. The defense is cohesive. New Orleans really could be a threat, and I doubt there are very many people out there that would have said that the moment Dennis Allen got fired. But New Orleans looks pretty good.
So this is 2 wins in a row post Dennis Allen, right?
That is correct.
Not bad. I mean, come on. When you're looking at the NFC South now, which seems to be a 2-team race between the Atlanta Falcons and I don't even know if it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers anymore.
They're so
now
injured.
That, when you have Evans went down and
Chris Godwin.
Down. So I don't know. It looked like it's probably just going to be, and I tried to think about this, while driving here this afternoon. Are you going to get 2 teams out of the NFC South? I
doubt it.
It looked good at one time, but I don't think that's going to be the case now. But, 35-14 there. And Alvin Kamara, man, I mean, you're just going to run this guy in the ground. I think Alvin Kamara, this is his last year with I know he signed an extension.
He signed an extension, yeah.
I had to catch myself there. He did sign the extension, but, man, there's just no way this Saints team is going to get any better.
It's going to wear Kamara down. I mean, at some point the wear and tear is going to be physically visible. He hasn't lost a step, but, I mean, you can only run and pass to the same guy over and over and over again for so many seasons
they
in a row.
They become so predictable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
they do.
It is just it is becoming an issue, and it probably is his last season in New Orleans. I could see them swinging for a running back in the first 3 rounds. Not in the first, right? There's too many other holes, but I could see them taking a swing in the 2nd or 3rd round for a primo running back in the draft just so that they have somebody to offset Kamara.
Yeah, so just a big win for the Saints, a bad loss for the Cleveland Browns, and I tell you what, so it looked like Jameis Winston is probably where – well, they don't have a choice because Watson's out for the year, but this is sort of Jameis Winston's last hurrah.
Yeah, I hope it's not, because Jameis Winston's a national treasure, and the quotes that he puts out into the media are by far the best that you're going to get out of a professional athlete. But, I mean, if Jameis can't turn this around, then you do have to wonder if anybody goes after. I mean, he's a good backup. Right? Like, he would make a great backup somewhere. He's a great team guy. Every locker room loves him.
I think that's what he's playing for. I could really see him in Carolina.
Yeah.
Let's say if they were to part ways with Bryce Young. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, speaking out loud, so to speak.
Even if they parted ways with Andy Dalton, he's a glue guy. He could go in there, be the backup to Bryce just in case something happens, just like Andy Dalton is.
Big numbers there, but it's just that it doesn't equate to win.
That is correct.
And I'm not really sure. I didn't see this game, so I'm not understanding the stats because the quarterback stats were pretty similar, so I don't know where it must have been turnovers or something in this that would have been the difference in this game.
I am not totally sure on that myself. So here at Franky's, where we sat before you got here, Gene, because we were early, we couldn't get into our hotel whenever we actually got here. The one TV that was obstructed from where we were sitting just happened to be the Cleveland game. I have Cedric Tillman on 2 of my fantasy teams. I was really pulling for the Browns today.
I haven't even looked at any of the fantasy football. We'll get into that here a little bit later. But I tell you what, so let's get you an update on the 3 late games that are currently underway. The Buffalo Bills right now, with 10 minutes left in the first quarter, they up 6-0.
Shanked the extra point.
That's never good. And, of course, the Denver Broncos at home, they are beating the Atlanta Falcons by a score of 7-3 as the same score in San Francisco there. It's 7-3. The 49ers are leading the Seahawks. This is a game I want to keep an eye on. Of course, we want to keep an eye on this game as well. But, man, the NFC West will be won by who, Jacob Meadows?
It's hard to tell. I mean, if CMC can get fully healthy, I think the 49ers have a really good shot, right? George Kittle's out today, so they have to worry about Kittle being banged up. They have to worry about Ayuk's replacement, right? It's not like they brought another receiver in. So you have Ricky Pearsall and you have Debo and Juwan Jennings. So if they can get some sort of cohesiveness out of this group of guys, and if Kittle can come back healthy, and if CMC can stay healthy, it's got to be the Niners. But if I'm not mistaken, right now the Cardinals are winning that division.
Well, the Cardinals are winning that division, and that's why every game is critical. We get to the Rams here. I don't know what they did today. We'll cover that, but I'm just saying that whoever wins that division is probably going to have a 500 record, or maybe could be worse.
You could see like something similar to what would come out of the South, being like a 7-9 record, right? Or 7-9 still is correct. Or would it be 7-10? It's 7-10. 7-10. Yeah. So you could see something like that coming out of the West because they cannibalize each other. There is no other division in football that just goes back and forth as bad as the NFC West.
Every year seems to be that way. So anyway, and we, of course, cannot wait to talk about the big game Monday night, and that's the Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. Our Texans fans that were here, we still got the one over there, so maybe we can get him to come on later on in the show. He left. But that is, of course, why we are here. We had to come down here and support our Texans because I think they are going to beat those Cowboys tomorrow. And I know, AJ, don't you cut my microphone off. I know it. I just feel like he's doing something in that studio right now. He never wants to hear about those Cowboys.
When we talk about the game, I'll have more to say.
Okay. So anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we got one more segment here in this first hour. Jacob Meadows, Mean Gene, live at Franky's Sports Bar, downtown Dallas on ESPN 97.5 Houston.
This is the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, that first hour, man, it goes by so fast, Jacob, when you're not at home here. Good thing we got like some structure here, with just knowing what the hell is going on, because AJ guides us when we're in H-Town, but we're on our own now. And look, there's probably 200-300 people in here, and there's a lot of beer, and there's a lot of football, and it's just amazing we know what the hell we're doing right now.
The fact that we've stayed on track as well as we have, it is mind-boggling. I'm so proud of us, to be honest.
Yeah, we have to be. So, all right, Jacob Meadows from the coach's quarters here, and Mean Gene here. It's the Mean Gene Show, ESPN 97.5 Houston. We are enjoying our staycation, I guess, here. And I used to live here. I lived here for 10 years in Dallas.
Do you miss it?
Oh, why, hell no. Because I can tell you right now, one of the worst things you could ever do is live here and not be a Dallas Cowboys fan.
That's fair.
And that was something that That was tough, you know.
I could see that. That would be a problem.
That was tough. But I'm going to tell you something about these fans here. Dallas is a sports town, you know, and I think the Cowboys makes that case there. But, you know, the Rangers won the World Series a couple of years ago.
They did.
So sports talk radio is real popular here in Dallas. And I can say this, that even when we had the Sports Kings and the Mean Gene show, you know, that originated out here in Dallas, still have loyal fans that follow the show. And I could say probably the majority of my, you know, the ones that follow us on the podcast come from Dallas in the state of Texas.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
So, I mean, even though they know I'm not rolling with the Cowboys, that didn't stop them from supporting this show.
Well, I think the biggest thing that helps that is your primary is the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're a Steelers guy. It's hard
so
to
I'm
hate
no
it.
threat to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to hate a Steelers guy.
Yeah, AJ, you guys got that win over us.
Y'all are the Cowboys of the AFC.
Yeah, it didn't even mean anything now, but yeah.
I know, but I mean, look, but this is an incredible town here. You know, in the city, we're right in the heart of downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where one-way streets go one way and the other, you know, you almost turn down a one-way street trying to get here.
Absolutely. Yeah. We got all sorts of lost. I was going left when I needed to go right. Yeah, I'm not a city driver.
In every downtown in a metropolitan area, folks just the downtown has to be that way. The streets have to be one way so they can move the traffic. Some people, you imagine if they just let you turn every damn place you wanted to.
That's true. Yeah, we almost got hit by a train. Like, they have the rail that runs through here. They jumped out at us.
They don't stop
crazy.
for nobody.
Yeah.
They don't stop for anybody. But the homeless situation is pretty intense downtown here, which was a shocker because it wasn't like that. The last time I did a show here, it just wasn't like that, but sort of reminded me of L.A. I lived in L.A. too. But, man, we are so happy to be here today. I want to thank, of course, and I'm going to thank these guys throughout the show, Bill and Johnny. They run a great place. And you discovered the underground down here.
Yeah.
That is huge, huh?
They have a whole, so I couldn't go down there, but they do have a whole underground area. It's roped off right now. They've got something going on down there, so it's not open to the public.
That's where the parties go down, man.
Yeah, it's dope.
That's where Mean Gene gets down there on a Saturday night and let my hair down.
Oh,
I mean, we get down there, and man, it's the get down to the get down there. I'm surprised we ain't hearing any music coming from down there. Cowboys beat the Texans tomorrow night. That place is going to be bumping down there.
It'll be bumping, yeah.
Yeah, so
it'll be quiet.
All right. We're going to try to sneak another game in here from the early window here. And wait a minute. We said we would go.
How about Las Vegas v. Miami?
Yeah, how about this one? No, it didn't happen that way. It was the Miami Dolphins beating the Raiders 34-19. I didn't watch this game, although I'm not surprised of the score. The Raiders, I think Gardner Minshew looked like he played the day, 282 yards, put the ball up 43 times. It looks like Tua Tagovailoa is coming back. Tua put the ball up 36 times, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Brain's not broken anymore. I think he is almost completely back from the concussion. It does put Miami in a precarious situation, though, because where their record sat, they were in line to get a really good draft pick in the draft, whereas now that they look like they're heating up, they're winning all these games, they're losing their draft stock, and there's a good chance they don't sniff the playoffs no matter how well they finish out. So it's interesting. It is nice to see Tua slinging it again. I am glad that he's healthy.
Yeah.
You're getting to see Jalen Waddle come out of his shell a little more. You know, they had that big story that broke about Tyreek Hill having the torn ligament in his wrist, and when he got detained and what have you by the police, it made that worse. And so they're kind of working through all of these other positions. They're like Jonnu Smith is blown up. They're tight end.
Yeah. How about that? I mean, give it up to Mike McDaniel. Is it Mike McDaniel for actually getting the, just changing things up, because you're thinking it's going to be Waddle and Hill, and to get Jonnu Smith involved is pretty incredible. But yeah, you're right. We'll talk about the standings in the next hour, because I agree with you that I don't think that only one team is going to come from the AFC East, and that's going to be the Buffalo Bills.
Correct.
I mean, things could change, though.
There's still a lot of season left. It's just the probability of that actually coming true is getting slimmer by the day.
It is. So The one bright spot for the Las Vegas Raiders would have to be Brock Bowers, man. This kid, this guy's the real deal. He was targeted 16 times.
Nuts.
He's a tight end, right?
He is a tight end.
Oh, my goodness.
Out of Georgia. Brock Bauer, football guy.
13 receptions, 126 yards, a touchdown. Just as advertised, you get what you get from Brock Bowers.
He's going to shatter every rookie tight end record that exists, and he deserves every accolade he gets because he is the heart and soul of that Raiders offense this season. With as dysfunctional as they have been, Brock Bowers is a savior.
Is that a tush push from the Denver Broncos?
From the Denver Broncos? It looked like it.
What was going on up there? But anyway, the Raiders quarterback situation here. So Minshew's in because
O'Connell had I think he broke his thumb on his throwing hand or something to that effect.
I just don't know if they got the weapons to put the ball up 43 times, though.
Well, they don't. They traded Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers has been hurt most of the year. Trey Turner's good, but he's not, no offense to Trey Turner because I do think he's a good player. He's a fast receiver, but he's small. And it's just one of those things. I don't know. The Raiders have a lot of holes. They need a lot of help. And I don't want to see AP get fired, but I honestly couldn't poke very many holes in the argument that AP could get fired after this season. They could bring somebody else in.
Well, look, he's on a short contract as it is.
Yeah.
A 2-year contract. So, I think you just pretty much let him stick it out. But what I see happening, or what's probably going to happen in Vegas, is the fact that he's going to end up probably being part of a draft that he won't be around to see the benefits of it.
Yeah, and the worst part about that is if your picks hit, you don't get the credit for it.
Yeah.
Like he's gone, so everybody.
We see that a lot in football.
You do, and it tarnishes somebody's legacy, and then somebody else steps in, and they're able to do something with the players you brought in, and kind of like the whole John Gruden situation, right? He takes over way back in the day, ends up winning a Super Bowl with Tampa.
Yeah,
and that wasn't his team.
Yeah, Dungy put. It just happens though, and that's because it's like the NFL, what it stands for, not for long.
Not for long.
Things
indeed.
will change and change quickly. So, although with this Raiders team, you could already see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce would not be the future of the Raiders. They've made it clear by the 2-year contract that they offered him.
Yeah, and for the first year, he was a rah-rah guy, and he really did. He had that Raiders persona about him. I think. I don't know.
You called, a couple of weeks ago, the firing
Luke
of
Getsy getting canned, and then he got
offensive
canned.
coordinator. So,
Yeah.
Was that his guy?
I'm wondering if Mark Davis put this staff together. That would be the only thing that I could say would keep the rest of this staff together going into next season, is if Mark Davis is who actually put this staff together. And now that it's floundering, maybe they'll give AP a little slack, and he'll be able to bring in some of his own guys. And I do think that could potentially help him in the long run, because it's not a bad team. That's not what this is. The Raiders are not a bad team. They just play really poorly, and it feels like there are a lot of questionable coaching decisions made every week.
So, I know it sucks to be a Raiders fan. Look, we spent a year out there, Virgin Hotels, covering those guys, and, man, another disappointing season for the Raiders. Okay, real quick before we wrap up this first hour, let's get you caught up on the scores here. It looks like the score remains the same with about 4:13 left in the first quarter. The Buffalo Bills 6-0 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Bills are trying to knock the Chiefs from the unbeaten ranks. If any team can do it, they can do it. Josh Allen has basically owned Patrick Mahomes in the regular season.
Yes.
Regular season, I say. Playoffs, a whole different story. And we also have a 14-3 Broncos lead over the Falcons there. So now is this going to be one of those games where Kirk Cousins sort of heats up in the second half, or is this Broncos defense going to hold serve?
This Broncos defense is legit. It might not be quite as good as the Steelers defense, but Sean Payton I am not a Sean Payton fan. I dislike him greatly, but man, he has put together a squad there in Denver.
Yeah, this is a pretty good game there. So, and then we have the nail biter that's happening right now at Levi Stadium there. The 49ers 7-6 over the Seahawks. So, hey, folks, when we come back, stick around. Second hour is going to be exciting. We're going to continue to cover the early games, get you up to date. We got our What Had Happened Was coming up in the next hour. And, man, do we have a treat for you because we haven't talked a lot about the Sunday night game, and there's a reason why. And I'm going to hold on to that until the next hour, until we get over there in the next hour. But, hey, I hope you are enjoying this show, folks. We are live here at Franky's Sports Bar. Me and Jacob Meadows down here at 1303 Main Street. You're driving around, come down and check us out. We'll see you. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we
come back for the second hour.
Come back for the second hour. You listen to the Mean Gene Show right here, live from Franky's ESPN 97.5 Houston.
You know those dreams you just don't want to wake up from? But you got to roll out of bed to make them happen. Putting in hours and hours. Exhausted. You want to give up. But you don't. You keep going. You hang in there. Because you don't want to save your dreams for your sleep. Do you have one of those? Bank of Texas. We go above so you can go beyond. Bank of Texas and We Go Above so you can go beyond are trademarks of BOKF-NA. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Cypress. Get our biggest discounts of the year. Get $3,000 off the 24 Taos, $4,000 off the 24 Jetta, $4,000 off 24 Tiguan, and $6,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. That's up to $6,000 off remaining 2024s at Volkswagen Cypress. Or we have 0 down, sign then drive leases and 0% APR available. Hurry in before we run out of 2024s. Volkswagen Cypress is where good things happen. Visit VWCypress.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Celebrate the holidays with us. Houston's Urban Nutcracker is back for 3 shows only on December 21st and 22nd at the Stafford Center. Houston's Urban Nutcracker is a fun and exciting twist on the holiday classic that celebrates Houston's rich cultural heritage and stars Houston's brightest talent. Group rates are available. Bring the family and enjoy. Get tickets today at HoustonUrbanNutcracker.org or Stafford Center's box office. Produced by Culture Arts Initiative and sponsored by HEB.